back to another Power BI Live. We're going live again, talking Power BI. I know we're here in the holiday season. For those of you that don't celebrate Christmas, I give you the respect and say the holiday season. For those of us that celebrate Christmas, I'm going to say the Christmas season. But welcome back. Hey, here's the deal, man. I just wanted to follow up from our webinar last Thursday. And basically what I wanted to talk about was I wanted to say thank you for all three people. We broke the record last week. We broke the record of Power BI Live last week in the Power BI webinar. We broke the record because we had 3 people on the webinar last Thursday. And this Thursday, I want to break the record again. We're going to try to double this week. We're going for 6 on the Power BI webinar. I know I've got a lot of people that tuned in, checked in, caught the video after we finished, but hey, we want to break it going live because I want to talk to you live when we're talking Power BI. You want to see why I'm so excited, why I get so hyped up when I start talking about Power BI. Look, here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. This is what it really looks like. So Power BI is actually a technology that the world is sleeping on, right? I'm trying to get you tuned into, I'm not gonna say the world. I'm not gonna say the world because I'd be lying. I'm not gonna say the world. I'm gonna say Power BI is a technology. The BI in Power BI, the BI stands for business intelligence. So now you already understand what AI is, which is artificial intelligence. So BI is the business intelligence of the artificial intelligence realm. I'm not going to go too deep into that. You can ask me questions about that when we talk about it in the webinar on Thursday. But here's the deal. Power BI is a technology. I'm going to try to be politically correct when I say this. Power BI is a technology that certain demographics of people are either not exposed to or underexposed to. Yeah. I think that's good. Power BI is a technology that a certain demographic of people is either not exposed to or underexposed to. Okay? So what I am trying to do is expose as many of those that are underexposed to Power BI. I'm trying to introduce you to that, right? And the reason why I think that it's so important to become exposed to it, because here's the deal. When many of us who have been hit upside the head and say, hey, in order to be successful in life, you got to go to school. When I say school, I'm talking about college or university. You got to get a degree, and then you've got to get a good job and get good benefits, and you've got to make good money and work at that job for, if not forever, for a long period of time, and then get another job in that area, and then finish out the rest of your life working for that job, right? When I started out in Power BI, I was an elementary school teacher. I was teaching 5th and 6th grade math, right? And love what I did, love what I do, but at the same time, I wasn't really able to afford some of the things that I wanted to do. Now, I don't want to make it seem as if everything is all about money. It's not all about money, but it is. Now, you can get upset with me if I say that, but anyway, what I'm saying is there were some things that I wanted to do that I couldn't do. Make sure I can hear here. There were some things that I wanted to do that I couldn't do. I don't like you saying can or couldn't. There were some things that I wasn't able to do because I wasn't making enough money, right? So I found out about a particular program, which is a totally separate program, which kind of drugged me into the big data realm, the big data world. And I got exposed to some things, and the guy that was teaching the course said, hey, you can potentially make $80,000 coming out of this course. And I'm like, yeah, right. So basically he's telling me it's a 4-month course. You can make $80,000 when you come out of this course, or potentially make $80,000 coming out of the course. I'm like, yeah, right. So I was already hesitant in going into the course. Bottom line is, that's something we can talk about in the webinar on Thursday. I mean, I'm totally open, totally transparent, but I want you to be able to ask me those questions. But at the end of the day, when I finished the course, I ended up coming out making, I think, right at $110,000 a year, coming from a $48,000 teaching job. So some of you guys, that may not be a lot of money, but for me, I was rich. Right? That more than doubled my income. Now, I'm not going to promise you that if you jumped in and you jumped into the Power to BI course, that you would come out, that you would double your income, because I don't know how much money you make. Okay, but what I do know is the average salary for a Power BI developer is right at about $105,000, $110,000 a year. Now, again, I talk about the money in the Power in the webinar, so I don't want to beat that dead horse right here in this particular video. Some of you guys looking, you're joining in live, either on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, or not TikTok, but YouTube. And I don't necessarily want to go into all that right now, because you can't ask me those questions. You really can't feel just how I feel. You can't really feel my passion behind what I'm trying to tell you. That look, there is a technology out there that is being hidden right now from certain demographics of people, and it does not have to be hidden. Right? It is there. So what I am here to do today is to tell you that, one, that technology is Power BI. Now, I'm not here to tell you that it's the only tech skill that you can learn, because I've got friends in the tech game that are doing other things. Bottom line is, the only one, well, not the only one, but the one I primarily know is Power BI. The one that I primarily know is Power BI. Okay, and what Power BI is building dashboards. For the lack of any better term, you're building dashboards. Now, once you get into the course, if you decide to go that route and you get into the course, you understand that there's a difference between a report and a dashboard, but they're pretty much like one and the same. But the common term is dashboard. Hey, right now we're gonna call it dashboard, because I can't teach you Power BI and the different terminologies and why the different terminologies are what they are in a 10, 15, 20, 30-minute video. But what I can tell you is this. If you're familiar with dashboards, you can create, basically what you do with Power BI is you build dashboards, right? Or you allow people, well, I'm not even going to that deep. You build dashboards, okay? It's not hard, it's not easy, and what you get paid, the work that you get paid to perform, your value is appreciated. Okay, the value for what you do is appreciated. My job is to teach you Power BI. My job is to teach you about Power BI. In my course, Power of the BI, which is many steps beyond what we're talking about here, my job is to teach Power BI. If you decide to take the course, if you decide to take Power of the BI, the 16-week course, man, I am not pushing you to do that, right? But if you decide to do it, it's my job to make sure that you're one of the best in the game. 'Cause I already believe that I'm probably the best in the game, right? And I want my students to be better than me. I put my reports up against anybody. And if you're out there in the video world, if you're out there on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, if I am over exaggerating what I am stating, please let me know. Leave the comments, leave me some comments, put them out there. I don't mind what you have to say. I listen. But what I will tell you is, if you go out to YouTube, you will see my work. I have work that's out there that I'm saying, hey, this is how you create this report. This is what you do from beginning to end. I'm not holding nothing back. Right? I want you to see before you even come to my free webinar. I want you to see that I know what I'm talking about. You can go over to YouTube and you can see from beginning to end how I create a Power BI report. And it's not just about creating the report. It's about knowing what you're talking about when you create the report. It's about knowing the data within the company that you're building the report for when you're creating the report. Because when you go out there and you get one of those six-figure jobs, you get a job somebody's paying you $105,000, $110,000, $115,000 a year, and they ask you to create a Power BI report, you need to understand what's out there. You need to understand the data. You need to understand what the data is, where the data comes from, and how you're going to bring that data in together to tell a story. Because at the end of the day, what a Power BI report is telling a story. It's telling a story within data visualizations using technology, okay? That's what it is. Now, Power BI itself is a Microsoft product. Look, I do not work for Microsoft, okay? I have contracted with Microsoft, not with my company, but I have contracted on different projects as I've worked for other companies to create Power BI reports for Microsoft. Okay, I've contracted with Microsoft. The reason why I'm bringing that up, the reason why I'm being transparent about that is because I don't want you to think that I'm getting paid by Microsoft in order to produce this video to bring in a certain demographics of individuals to buy Power BI. Now, there's two things there. One, Power BI at this level, when it comes to creation, is not a product that's for sale. Okay, so then you say, well, T, well, how are we going to even get to be able to create a Power BI report if Power BI is not even available for sale by Microsoft? Great question, and I'm glad you asked. Here's the deal: it's free. Yeah, Power BI is free. To develop Power BI reports is free. All you have to do is you can go to Google, put in Power BI, desktop, and the first thing that's going to probably come up is the Microsoft page for downloading Microsoft Desktop. You'll go over to that page, you'll download Microsoft Desktop, you'll download Power BI for Power BI Desktop to your computer, and voila, you can start creating Power BI reports right there. Now, the one thing is, the caveat is, it's only you're only able to create using Power BI Desktop on a PC. You cannot create Power BI. I don't like to say can't. You are not able to create Power BI reports using a Mac or any other operating system. Only today, as of this video, only using a PC. So if you got a PC, you can Google Power BI Desktop, go over to Power BI, Google Microsoft, download Power BI Desktop, open it up, run it, boom. Now you're able to create Power BI reports. There are ways in order that you can create on the web, but that's a whole nother conversation. We can talk about that on Thursday. Now, here's the deal. Wait, let me back up. So you might ask me, but if it's free, how Microsoft making money and how they paying so much money to Power BI developers? It's free for Power BI developers because Microsoft wants as many available Power BI developers as out there in the world as they can probably get. That's why they just saying, hey, they giving it to you. Now, excuse my terminology, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. Some of you guys may not totally understand what I'm saying, and some of you guys may not be able to appreciate what I'm about to say. But it's like crack. They give it away to the developers for free so they can create these fancy reports and get good at what they do so that big business can buy the actual service from Microsoft, because there are different levels of buying, different tiers of levels of buying or being able to use the service within Microsoft. And it starts out, you can get the most basic plan is $7.99 or $9.99 per month. That's real simple. Hell, I got that, but I got that just so I'd be able to use some of the more advanced features of Power BI, and I can teach some of the more advanced features of Power BI. But when you start talking about it from a large scale, here's the deal. Then they start charging these businesses $5, $10, $20, $50, $100,000 a month. That's right. You're working in an environment, you're creating Power BI reports, but they're paying you $110,000 a year. But they're paying Microsoft $10, $20, $100,000 a month. Come on, man, work with me. That's why it's in such a demand, because what's being needed in order to produce the reports at that level is not readily accessible. It's not readily available when it comes to the human resources that are available. And then the human resources that are available, the concept of Power BI has not totally reached, again, I will say every demographic of individuals that are out there, right? I just stumbled upon it. Myself, I would be considered to be a person that probably would be underexposed to it. I just stumbled upon it. And what I'm saying is, it's time not to be stumbling trying to figure it out. If it's not you, if you're not interested in Power BI, but you know somebody that's probably in tech and they're trying to find a new skill, just forward this video. Just forward this video. I don't have to make no money off of them. I'm not trying to make money off you. Right now, really, this video is really just talking about the free webinar that I'm having on Thursday that we're going to go more in depth. It's a 90-minute webinar. It's a 90-minute webinar. We just had one webinar this past Thursday. I broke the record. I broke my record. I don't know about the Power BI record, but I broke my record of the number of attendees that attended my Power BI webinar on Thursday. We had 3 people. We had 3 people this Thursday. And this coming Thursday, we want 6 people. Okay? We want 6. We're gonna exponentially increase every week. I'm not trying to get 100,000 people. I'm not trying to get 1 million people. I'm not trying to get 50,000 people until it's time to get 50,000 people, until it's time to get 1 million people. Right now, 6 people. 6. And if that's not you, that's okay, because there may not be any interest to you. But there's somebody out there that's interested in tech, and they're interested in learning a new tech skill, and they don't know what that new tech skill probably should be. And I'm telling you that new tech skill that they probably should be learning is Power BI. There could be somebody out there that's looking for a new job. That's looking for a new job. And they don't, and they're putting stuff on their resume, but they out there just gambling on what to put on their resume, because everybody's putting stuff on their resume. Okay? I'm saying put Power BI on your resume. Right? You can get certified, and we do talk certification. I do talk certification within my course. I'm not necessarily talking certification right now, and probably not a whole lot during the webinar, but I will answer questions during the webinar when it comes to certifications. But at the end of the day, a certification is just icing on the cake, baby. It don't mean you can do the work. It just means you know how to study, or you know how to cheat, right? And I'm not a proponent of cheating. I'm just saying, hey, a certification does not mean you know how to do the work. Certification means that you know how to study, or you can compensate, whether overcompensate or undercompensate to get answers, right? But how do you do the work? My job on Thursday, during the Thursday webinar, is to, 1, give you all the information you need about Power BI. What this thing is, where this thing come from, and where this thing is going. Now, if you're familiar with AI, if you haven't been sleeping under a rock for the last about 3 years or so, 2.5 years, 3 years or so, you know what AI is, you know where AI is going. But nobody is telling you where BI is going, right? Yeah, I mean, you could look at my Instagram, and I've got some AI out there, and I'm certified by Microsoft as an AI associate. I'm also certified as a Power BI developer, as a data engineer. But again, where I'm going with that is just giving you some idea of where my intellect comes from, or where it is right now when it comes to AI and BI. But if you haven't been sleeping under a rock for the last 2.5 to 3 years, and you understand what AI is, if you understand what AI is, BI is the business intelligence of AI. They do integrate. There is overlap, but nobody's talking about BI. Everybody's talking about AI. Let me say it a different way. If you can imagine that there was someone that was out there that could be an antagonist, and they were raising this hand over here. They're raising this hand over here. So as they raise this hand over here, you're looking at this hand, but you don't know what's going on with the other hand. Huh? That makes sense to you? This hand is raised, but you don't know what's going on with this other hand. Yeah, everybody is screaming AI. Everybody is screaming all the things you can do with AI. And trust me, I'm a fan of AI. I'm a fan of ChatGPT. I'm a fan of HeyGen. I'm a fan of VO3. Hey, I'm a fan of all these different AI platforms. But what's going on in business, right? What's going on in business? Because the average business is not using, well, the average business is using ChatGPT. And in some cases, if they've got a partnership with Microsoft and they're using Microsoft Teams, they're not necessarily using ChatGPT within Teams. They're using Microsoft version of ChatGPT within Teams, so that you can create prompts within Teams. That's a whole nother conversation. But what I'm saying is, this hand is waving, these fingers are moving, but you don't see what the other hand is doing. We hear the noise of AI, but what's going on with BI? Okay, what's going on with BI? And that's where we're working. We're working in corporate America. We're working in small business America. We've got small businesses. And in our small businesses, we're not incorporating business intelligence, but we're using ChatGPT. We're not using business intelligence. We're not using data visualization, but we're using ChatGPT. Okay? At the end of the day, we're going to be behind. We're going to be behind if we don't understand business intelligence. If we don't understand what's going on with business intelligence. Let me say it a different way. Business intelligence is affecting every industry. Not in Arkansas, not in Texas, not in Louisiana, not in Georgia, not in New York, not in California. Business intelligence is affecting every industry in the world, the whole world, right? Business intelligence is affecting every industry in the world. Not only is it affecting every industry, it's affecting every company, every department, every cubicle, every chair. Everybody is not going to have to know how to be a Power BI developer, but everybody is going to, in order to compete for major jobs here in the United States, well, probably around the world, but definitely the United States, within the next, I'm going to say 3 to 5 years, you're going to need to know Power BI, right? Now, are there some other business intelligence tools that are out there that companies are being used and being wooed to potentially use within their organizations? Yeah, there are. There's several. And just to give you an idea, if you heard of Tableau, Tableau is another business intelligence tool. ClickView is another business intelligence tool. But here's the deal. Understand what the big giant is saying. The big giant in the big blue, they got the M as for the initial. They're saying, hey, we want y'all to use Power BI. Okay? And we're going to make it easy for you to use Power BI because there are hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of Power BI developers that are out there now that are readily and available to work for you, right? And how do they know? Because they're giving Power BI away for free. It's the crack. They're giving it away for free so that the developers can learn Power BI and then the companies can demand Power BI. And the only player they can demand Power BI from is the big giant with the M as the initial, as the abbreviation, right? So where I'm going with that is, now is the time. Now is the time to get into the game. Now is the time to understand the game. Yeah, we see the hand moving, we see the fingers moving, but what's going on the other side? Because what we don't want to have happen is 5 years from now, every job description says they're looking for someone that had, and just to keep it simple, not even say from a tech side, let's say from an accounting side, you know, Power BI, knowledgeable of Power BI in the job description. And it's, oh, I don't have any knowledge of Power BI as the accounting person, as the finance person, as the marketing person, right? We get these big fancy degrees from these big fancy schools, and now it's, hey, you need to be Power BI, have knowledge of Power BI in your experience. But most of these schools, matter of fact, there's no school. I'm gonna put it out there, I'm gonna just say none right now. Even when you're talking about the Ivy Leagues, to the HBCUs, to the PWIs, none of them have Power BI as a degree. Okay, you can get an accounting degree. You can get a finance degree. You can get a marketing degree. You can get a master's in business administration, but you can't get a master's in Power BI. But you can make 6 figures in Power BI, but you got a degree over here, but you can't make 6 figures here. You got to have a master's. You got to do something different. You got to work your way up the corporate ladder for a couple of years. Then it's like, oh, okay, but why don't you have to have a degree in Power BI? Because nobody has it. That's why it's underexposed. Nobody has it. It's not in the schools, okay? Here's a tricker. It's even sweeter. It's a secret. Don't tell nobody else this secret. The secret is this. You don't have to have a degree in order to learn Power BI, okay? And it doesn't change how much money they're gonna pay you. Let me say it a different way. You can make 6 figures with no degree working in Power BI. Now, am I telling you not to go to school? Now, am I telling you to skip college, to skip university? No, I'm not telling you that, okay? What I am saying is, if you're choosing not to go, but you're looking for another route to take, okay, you need to learn a skill set. Now, back in the day, the ultimate skill sets when you said you didn't want to go to college, the ultimate skill sets was, hey, I get it. You don't want to go to college, you don't want to go to university, but you want to get a job. You gotta learn a trade, right? You gotta learn a trade. You can become an electrician. You can become a mechanic. You can become a plumber. You can learn various trades. I'm not up to speed on all of the different trades, but you can learn different trades and still have a great quality of life. You can get a job at the local industry, at the mill, at the steel plant, and work there for 25, 30, 40 years and work through the ranks, and you can make a lot of money. And then you can take the money that you make and you can do some entrepreneurial ventures and buy some real estate and some properties and flip some properties, and you didn't have to go to school, right? So here's the thing. That's what Power BI, that's the game changer that Power BI brings now. It's saying, hey, you can learn one of the highest tech skills and become one of the highest earners in tech, and not necessarily have to know everything about plugging the wiring and the networks and stuff like that into a computer. Because that's not what it is. That's not what it is. Okay? What I'm saying is, because I may be sounding kind of funny right here, what I'm saying is this. Power BI allows individuals to create different opportunities for them in life, financially, by learning this particular skill set. Now, I'm going to call it a trade, but it's not a trade. It's a skill set. And it's a skill set that is very, very limited and underexposed to certain demographics of people, if you get what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying that I'm only willing to share my information with certain demographics of people. What I am saying is certain demographics of people need to take heed to what I'm saying and expose themselves to Power BI, whether or not they want to work in tech. But if they want to work for a company within the next 3 to 5 years, those that have Power BI skill set, well, let me say this, those that have Power BI that are knowledgeable of Power BI, because that's going to be another term on the resume here very soon, right? Now, I say very soon, I'm saying 3 to 5 years. Those that want to have Power BI knowledgeable on their resume, at minimum, need to go through my Power BI, my free webinar. Now, I do a 5-day challenge. Where we create Power BI reports, and you have at least two Power BI reports created to be in your portfolio. Now, it's nothing like going to an interview and you saying, "Host, stop talking. If you don't mind, can I share my Power BI? Can I share a couple of projects with you?" And I can walk through how I created my projects. It ain't nothing like having an interview to where you're sharing your Power BI portfolio. Now, in my 5-day challenge, you create at least two projects within my 5-day challenge. Now, you say, "Well, Try, how can I learn everything I need to learn in 5 days?" To be honest, you can't. But at least you'll have something to start with. Now, coming through my Power BI course, that 16-week course. Now, that's a whole different ball game. That's a game changer, baby. That's a game changer. But that's too big for you right now. I ain't even trying to sell you on that. The only thing I want you to do, look, this is what I'm trying to do Thursday. I am trying to break my record. Last week, I had a mission to break my record. Because here's the deal. I'll be totally honest with you. I've been having my Power BI webinars. And I've been having those webinars probably for like the last 6 months. And I've been talking to 0 people. And I've been excited, baby. I've been excited because I knew that when I started putting those webinars on YouTube and people could come in and they can check out the webinars whenever they got ready. I knew it'd give it some exposure, right? I knew it'd be cool and people would start getting some interest. And last week, when 3 people showed up, I was like, yo, I was in that thing teaching like I was teaching at one of the major Ivy League schools, baby. I ain't lying. Go check it out. It's out there. It's out there on YouTube right now. But what I'm saying is this week, I want to double attendance this week. 6 people. We're looking for 6 people. And I say we, it's only me. That's just M with a W upside down, baby. But I want to get 6 people, and we're going to talk Power BI for 90 minutes. I guarantee you, it won't be more than 90 minutes, just like I said before in the webinar last week. At the 90-minute mark, I was shutting that thing off. Now, I had a couple of questions that came up from individuals at the end of the webinar, and I could only show respect and answer those questions at the end of the webinar. So we went maybe 92, 93, 94 minutes rather than 90 minutes. But at the end of the day, this week, I want to go with 6 people. So here's the deal. What I'm saying is the webinar is totally free. The webinar is totally free. There's no cost to the webinar. I introduce you to the 5-day challenge at the end of the webinar. It's going to be slightly different this week. I saw some things in the webinar that we did last week that I really wanted, that I felt I need to change up. So I'm gonna make some changes to it. Still, it's only going to be 90 minutes. But here's the deal. If you know someone that's out there that's looking for a job, right? They're looking for a job and they're trying to make the new year. I don't like to go in with New Year resolutions and things like that. But if you have someone that's out there, oh, let's see here. I got a couple of questions here on Instagram. Let's see. Sam Can Store. Is it like, let me see. It is like that now. It is all over the job announcements. Okay, cool. I mean, so now y'all see, I'm not playing there. Sam Can Store, do you teach Power BI API connections? I do teach in my 16-week course. I don't teach API connections in my 16-week course. We get data from one source in the 5-day challenge. But I do teach API connections in my 16-week course, and there are many different API connections now, whereas previously there weren't when I was first getting started, there wasn't a whole lot of different API connections. There are a lot of different API connections now. SAP, different Oracle and Toad connections that have requirements. SQL connections. We teach about 5. I think I introduce you to about 5 different connections within the course. But that's within my Power of the BI 16-week course. In my 5-day challenge course, which again is 5 days, 90 minutes a day for 5 days, I only teach one source connection, primarily for the sake of time. But the answer to your question is yes, we do teach. Well, I do teach I do teach API connections. So, if you know someone that's out there that's looking for a job, they need to be on the webinar on Thursday. And it's 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. If you know someone that's looking for a job, send this information over to them. Send this video over to them. Tell them they can go over to powerofthebi.com and sign up for the webinar. It's a free webinar. Power, POWERTHEBI.com. They can go over to the Power of the BI. They can go over to powerofthebi.com and they can sign up for my free webinar. You can send them to this particular video and they can comment learn. They comment learn, and I will send them the link. So if they don't want to go to the website, just tell them to come to this video and comment learn, and I will send them the link to the Power of the BI webinar, free webinar. If you're looking for a different job, you're looking to pivot careers, this is the perfect place to be. This is the perfect place to be. Again, go over to my website, powerofthebi.com, or in this particular video, all you have to do is comment learn, and I will send you the link. Either way, I'm going to send you the link. Go to the website or come into this video, and I will send you the link, okay, to participate in the webinar on Thursday, again, which is a totally free webinar, 7:30 p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. If you know of individuals that are just interested in different tech skill sets, this is a great tech skill set. Ado, I don't want to get your name wrong, but I see we've got learned. I will definitely get the link over to you after this video. Adottey Bob. I will get this over to you. But at the end of the day, if you know anyone that is just interested in learning something new in tech, a new tech skill set, forward them this information. Forward them over to my website, powerofthebi.com. Forward them to this video over here at Power of the BI here on Instagram. Those of you out there on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, we will get you the link for Thursday for 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, my major goal this week this week is to continue to break the record and to continue to spread information. And the way I'm spreading that information is breaking the record. So if you don't mind, you can help me help you by helping me break the record. Again, my webinar record last week was 3. I had 3 people on the webinar last week. And some of you probably are saying, oh, he just had 3 people on the webinar. Listen, trust me. It's not going to be 3 forever. It's not going to be 3 forever. This week, it's going to be 6. I can see it. It's going to be 6. And I need you to help me double my record from last week. And we're going to continue every week to break this record. But anyway, I'm not going to hold your time a whole lot longer than what we've been going right now. We're right at the 36-minute and 52-second mark. We're going to shut this thing down. But I want to see you on Thursday. I want you to have somebody. I want you to forward this information to someone else that you know that may be interested, that may need this, or this love to be around tech for our webinar that we're going to be having on Thursday. Again, thank you for joining in, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.